why don't you tap into the water column? It's on the test. Let's just crash through that and have you blow through this. And if you have any other questions on the gas rigs, I mean, we can dive into the weeds on dual cuts, OPDs, when to deal with it, 2 PSIs, up to 10 PSI, rooftop units that you guys are being dealing with, when to use what rig with what. So, but due to time, let's get rolling through this.
Yeah, we got a lot of, it's turned out to be a big one. Okay. So what is the equipment called that you use to measure gas? A manometer, right? A manometer, right? Okay. Everybody have a manometer on their truck? You better get one. Okay. Field Piece makes a good one, and UEI makes a good one. I actually have both of them. I like both of them. So a lot of good equipment, tools that way. So the term inches of water column is simply stated as just measuring pressure. Okay. But the problem is when we get down into that 4 ounce area, your pressures are down to 0.036 PSI. So a little hard to really measure that type of a pressure, right? Unless you got a very crazy instrument that'll do it. Today, we use electronic manometers. So in theory, it's easy to see that pressure now. But back in the day, when you had a mechanical gauge or you had something that looked like that. Who remembers either something like that, a water tube? Anybody? I used to have one of those ones. You know, the water tube gas gauge. Okay, it was great because you didn't have any liquid until your water bottle. You'd fill it up, hook it up, and test your pressure, right? Okay. The other style, I guess I must have taken it off, but there's another one that looks like this. It has the U-shaped tube in it, but has its own liquid built inside of it, right? And then you would hook one side up to the unit, one side up to atmosphere, and then you would just watch that level change as you turn the gas ball valve back on, and then that would tell you where your static pressure difference is or your water column is at, okay? So back in the day, we used water column. We still call it water column, but they came up with these tools because they couldn't necessarily really read that small pressure, okay? So that's why they had these older tools. But now we got our fancy manometers that are electronic. They can read, we can change them between PSI, water column. We can read all these different pressures off of a nice mechanic or instrument today, right? Okay. Whereas everybody in here used a manometer. You guys tested gas already before? You guys understand that concept, okay? Why are we testing gas? Why do we want to know those numbers? What are we looking for?
Have enough gas supplied.
Okay, exactly what we were just talking about, right? We need the volume of gas to run the unit. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. Let me back up to, let's see where to go. This one. So your 4 ounce pressure range natural gas, we want to be between 4 inches and 14 inches of water column, right? Now, does that mean anywhere in that range, as long as we're running between 4 and 14, is that unit okay? Okay, this is where it's confusing because I get that question all the time. Well, I'm at 7 inches of water column. Okay, that's great. Or they'll tell me, well, I'm at 4 inches of water column. I'm still within range. Well, your boiler's not running, so there's something wrong, right? Okay. This is the range you can start at, but the drop from when that unit starts and goes to high fire, we'll go backward, right? Okay. You don't want that drop of water column of pressure to change drastically, right? So if we're talking in terms of water column, you are hoping, and you should be piping everything to where your drop from static, from start, nothing running, to high fire running should be no more than 1 inch drop. Okay, that's what you're looking for. So you're not looking to be in this range. You're looking that, hey, I start static at 10 inches of water column. I don't want to drop more than 9 inches or drop below 9 inches of water column on my meter. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, generally, you're going to be checking your static gas pressure, so before the unit's running, Make that number, write that number down. Watch it when it fires and see how far it drops. Wait till the unit gets to 100% fire rate and then see what that number is, okay? Generally, we want 1 inch of water column drop. Depending on your gas regulator size, depending on your pipe, depending on your unit, 2 inches of drop is generally okay. Okay, I've had a lot of manufacturers tell me that's okay. We can go within 2. If you're starting to drop below that 2 inches, more than 2 inches of water column, you got an issue and you may have some issues with your boiler. And they may be some issues that you won't notice right offhand. They may come later on down the road and you're just not realizing it. Okay, so these are a couple of things we've seen over the years and we want to point out. Now, if you sized everything right, and you go off of your charts, because your boiler manual will give you some gas charts to follow to size your equipment with. If you go off of these charts right and you size everything and pipe it correctly, generally you'll get between a 0.5 to maybe a 1 inch water column drop, and your unit's going to run fantastic, okay? Now, the way our units are coming out, the boilers are being made, they're becoming more and more temperamental, and they're becoming a lot more sophisticated. And some of our smaller boilers are now coming with gas pressure switches. And they're giving us a run for our money because we've never had to watch all of these gas pressures before and all these changes. Now a lot of manufacturers are starting to get into that. So you got to be very careful of how you're piping your systems. Okay? All right. Let's go back over here. Okay, so when sizing gas lines, make sure that you convert your BTUs to cubic feet per hour. Everybody familiar with the Good Practices app? You guys use that app? Never heard of it? Okay, it's a good app to use. It's free to download. It's now Enbridge. Is that their name now?
Yeah.
Instead of Rocky Mountains Power no, Dominion. It used to be Dominion, right? Okay, now it's Enbridge. But the app is called Good Practices. Download that app. It's got a lot of cool charts in it. You can size your whole system off of that app. Okay, it'll recognize where you're at that current location if you want to just see where your current location is. But a couple weird things. So Eric mentioned you can go BTU to cubic feet, which is 1 to 1,000, right? And so basically, if you want a boiler that's 100,000, well, you need to size it to 100 cubic feet per hour, okay? Utah, for some reason, and they claim part of Idaho and Wyoming, use a chart where you have what's called heat content, and they want you in your certain area, you're gonna have to derate that gas number for this weird chart and these numbers that they came up with, which I don't know where they came up with them, but this is basically saying, depending on where you live, your gas content, the amount of BTUs you can get out of the gas versus Salt Lake City and Park City is different. You don't get the same gas. Thought it came through the same pipe, but whatever, okay? Elevation does have a huge factor in your gas as well. You go to propane, now you even change it even more, okay? And there's other charts you could follow for propane if you want it as well, okay? So you need to convert BTUs, divide that by your heat content to get you your cubic feet per hour. Most gas charts that you will see, as this example here, is going to tell you what you're sizing for. So capacity of Schedule 40, metallic pipe, iron pipe, black iron pipe, in cubic feet. Some charts will tell you in BTUs. So watch the chart that you're reading, okay? So this one's in cubic feet for natural gas, not propane, because they will be different. And this will be per hour based on 0.60 specific gravity and pressure drop, okay? So this chart, we're going to take our BTUs. So let's say we got, 500, who's got a calculator real quick? So 500,000 BTUs, and who likes Park City? So divide that by 803. So 500,000 divided by 803, what do you got?
622.665.
622.665. Okay, so right, and then divide that by 803 for Park City. This is your cubic feet per hour. Okay, Again, rule of thumb, always round up. So I need 623 cubic feet per hour of gas to service that 500,000, okay? What was our rule of thumb from regulator to boiler? 10 feet. So we're going to say we are at 10 feet of pipe, and I need to make sure I come up with 623 cubic feet per hour. You have to pipe that 1.25 inches. Make sense? Okay, is that how you follow it?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure. Keep me on my feet here, right? Okay, are we following that? So we converted cubic feet per hour. Where we were at gives us our line size. We need 1.25 inch line size. So what size gas regulator should you put on that line? Trick question. What size? What do you think?
500 plus.
Okay. No, what size gas regulator? So what pipe size gas regulator would you put if you have to pipe 1.25 inch pipe to the boiler?
He's probably be range.
Okay, you could.
You could.
What should you put in? You should put 1.25 inch gas regulator body, okay? From what I learned, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I've been told that the regulator itself will give you a 1-inch drop in water column if it's lower body size than what the pipe size is. So if I'm already trying to stay within 1, because that's recommended, and I went to a 1 inch, I already got my 1-inch drop. Hopefully I have nothing else in that pipe that's going to drop anything at my boiler, okay? So other rule of thumb, though, is yes, you could go to 1 inch, okay? What's cheaper, 1 or 1.25 inches? 1's cheaper. Who wants to buy a 2-inch gas rig? Eric does. He wants you to buy them because he's going to sell them to you, right? Yeah. Okay. So I want to point that out because our gas guys are doing this all the time, okay? I walked into a house. I totally forgot to take a picture of it. Walk into a unit. The guy's got high pressure. It's 2 pound coming in. He goes next down from, I think it was 1 inch, goes to a 3/4 gas reg, does a street 90 3/4 to 1 out of the reg, or no, 3/4 to 1.25 inch out of the reg, 1.25 inch pipe and into my boiler. My boiler is 1.4 million BTUs. Will 3/4 gas reg run 1.4 million? There's my first problem. The gas regulator won't even work. What's the second problem?
The pipe size.
He went from 3/4 all the way to 1.25 inch. Okay, do you think my boiler is going to run? Not at all. Okay, now the other thing, 1.4 million, do this real quick. 1.4 million in Park City, colonies, I'm at 9,200 feet elevation. Okay, so that actually plays a little bit of factor. We're not going to factor that in at the moment, so let's do the 803. So 1.4 divided by the 803 is what?
1,744.
Okay, I'm 10 feet. He's right above my boiler. He's dropping down. It's a huge room. He's dropping down. I'm at 10 feet. What do I got to have for that?
2.5.
At least 2-inch pipes. Every time. The gas guys. Okay, why do you think he only gave me 1.25 inch pipe?
That's all it was on trip.
Nope. That's all that was on the boiler. The boiler connection is 1.25 inch. He looked at the boiler and went, I'm running 1.25 inch. He's never looked at the gas chart, decided to figure out what to do. Okay? Just because the boiler has a 1/2 inch, a 1 inch, an 1.25 inch pipe connection at the boiler, that is not the pipe size you need to run. Okay? If you're running your own gas, don't look at the boiler pipe size and say, that's what I'm running. Okay? Run some numbers. It's really easy. These charts, both of these charts, this one's actually, I broke this one down. They give you a whole slew of cities in there, okay? Now, obviously, they're derating, so this is going to run bigger pipe size. This is actually going to run bigger, okay? If you just did the 1 by 1, so 1, you can divide instead of 803, I divide it by 1,000. I'm going to get a little bit smaller number on this side, right? Okay, so it's going to change a little bit. Okay, safety factor. Go a little bit bigger maybe. Okay, but don't go too big. Gotta be careful with that, right? Okay. What is BTU? Talked about it a little bit.
Wait.
British thermal unit. It's on your test. CFH, cubic feet per hour. Okay, just remember those terms. All right. What can we use for gas pipe? Black iron, mega press, CSST, gas flex pipe. Okay. Polyethylene, underground, right? Anybody do the underground? Yellow pipe, very common, right? Okay. Gas flex pipes. Who uses those? 50.
It's okay. Raise your hand. We all.
Right?
Be honest.
Hand up. Okay. Can you use them on boilers?
You.
You can, depending on the BTU load.
What the C system.
The little yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In practices and
Okay.
lates out because they got
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
there's this
Yeah.
yellow.
The little yellow flexes, yeah. Sorry, not CSST. Yeah, CSST I'm okay with as long as you follow their chart to size that pipe, because usually their inside diameter is a little bit different than the black iron, and you're usually going to be using a larger, well, my experience, most of the time it's a larger pipe size than what black iron would be, right? Okay. But another house I was on today, they called up, hey, we're ready for heat. Gas guy's got his stuff. Electricians gave you power. We're good to go. I walk in. Well, the electricians gave me 3 plugs on the floor. So I had to tear the damn plugs out and wire them to my switches. And then the gas guy put the right size reg, the right size pipe, dropped it down, and put a flex pipe, the little yellow flex pipe. I have a 400,000 BTU boiler. Will a 3/4 flex pipe run 400,000 BTUs? Not at all. Surprisingly, the boiler is running right now.
Is it whistling?
But no, actually, it wasn't whistling either.
kidding.
Okay, but I didn't have time to put my manometer on, so I haven't tested it yet. But I talked to the gas guy. He's coming back to rip it out. But
Isn't that something to do with earthquakes? Why we always using there? I mean, that's what I was always understood. Why you don't fire.
that's kind of been the general consensus of why to use them. But I think we just got lazy and
Always use the flexes off the water heater just because it.
right.
So a situation like that, it wouldn't break. You know, it's
Right. I think, yeah, that's been the general rule of why people used them, but nobody's actually looked at the tag on that pipe to see whether they can actually push through.
They make some people in the city out.
Yes, you can get some big flex pipes, okay? So you can use a flex pipe. It was a trick question and why I asked that. You can use them as long as that flex pipe is rated to get the cubic feet per hour that you need to get through, or the BTU. Sometimes they'll say BTUs on them, okay? As long as it's rated to handle your equipment, and then after the fact, when you're testing with your manometer, you're within specs, by all means, go for it. That's perfectly fine, okay? Okay. Oh, no, there was I went a little faster. All right. Answer that question. Do you need to do anything to your appliance if you change it from natural gas to propane or propane to natural gas? Okay. Generally, there's some sort of a conversion kit, right? Our boilers today, they keep changing on how they do that conversion kit. It used to just be an orifice, right? A little silver, brass-looking washer had a different size hole in it to let X amount of gas flow through it, right? Now today, some boilers, I can't remember if I have, some boilers today, now you got to change out what we call the venturi, which is the intake piece to your blower motor. You change that guy out because that guy has the orifices built into it. So you got to buy the one that has propane labeled on it, or it's got natural gas. And there's a physical sticker that is on that unit that will tell you if it's natural or LP, okay? Some units, you have to change that out. You have to add an air shutter plate. Some units, you have to change that, an air shutter plate, and maybe an orifice. Some boilers, you just have to change the orifice. Some boilers, you don't change anything, minus you have to hook up. Who knows what this is? combustion analyzer, and you just dial the gas valve in. Okay, everybody's different depending on the size of boiler. Okay, generally you're not changing anything on the bigger boiler units, the million BTUs. Well, actually 800s and up. Most of those you're not changing anything other than the adjustments of the gas valve using a combustion analyzer to make sure you find those numbers that the manufacturer asks for. Okay, who's used a combustion analyzer? Not yet. Yes. Who has one?
Does anyone sell one for triple price?
So,
I sell them, but they're not cheapest in the street, but they're good.
what line is yours?
Waller.
I don't know that one. Okay. I carry a UEI. I think I have I had a Baccarat at one point that were decent, but I love my UEI.
Nice with ours is it's 4-year sensor warranty.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Bypass, so you can set a limit up threshold of CO. So if you get into a dirty system, it'll bypass and save your sensors.
Okay.
There's some features
Yeah, you get benefits to it.
that actually help in us a lot.
Okay. So 3 pieces of equipment if you're going to work on boilers. What was the first one we talked about? Who remembered? Tester,
Voltmeter.
voltmeter. What's the second one?
But
Manometer. What's the third one?
Combustion analyzer.
Combustion analyzer.
don't skip out on what your adult meter.
Yeah, get a decent voltmeter.
Yeah.
You want one that reads up to 2 million ohms, to be completely honest.
Yeah. The better the tool, it makes a difference for you. Okay. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there to watch to learn how to use your piece of equipment. So, okay.
Hey, James, real quickly, another question that I get asked about the gas reg is you're talking about propane and natural. On the gas reg, this can handle both without any changes. Only thing that you got to do is take that cap off and adjust. For propane, you're typically around 11 inches water column to like 13 inches. Go clockwise, increase the pressure downstream, and that's it. So a lot of guys will say, well, I didn't use the Pietro, I didn't use this because I didn't know if it was good for propane. It is. So go ahead and use that. Anyways, it's not as complicated as the boiler stuff that you got to deal with the orifices. So that's the only changes there.
Okay. All right. So real quick before we get to our example, did we answer all your questions on this page? Because some of this had test questions on it. You got everything down? Everybody good? Sweet.
The regulator needs to be vented outside for every blank.
15
Every 15
feet.
Okay. So if you have your regulator like this one, has that 3/8 adapter to it, you can go 3/8, 15 feet. Soft copper, right? Piece of cake, makes it nice and easy. Compression fitting on there. Boom, you're done. If you got to go 20 feet, you can run 15 feet and 3/8, but then you got to go to 1/2 inch for the rest of the 5 feet. Makes sense? Or you can go another 15 feet of half, but then if you got to keep going more than that, then you got to go another pipe size up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, every 15 feet, increase that vent size.
All right.
Good. Everybody else, we got questions? We're good? Okay. All right, let's do an example real quick. We have a residential boiler doing some snow melt, 500,000 BTUs in Salt Lake City. The boiler's 40 feet from the gas regulator. It's in the same room. The boiler has a gas connection size of 1.25 inches. Do we care that it has 1.25 inches? The only reason you care about that is because that's what bell reducer you're going to have to buy to whatever you're going to calculate, right? System supply pressure to the mechanical room is a 2 pound. Pretty simple. We don't have to do a dual regulator. Everybody heard of a dual regulator? Dual regulator is basically stepping down from 10 pound to 5 pounds, and then from the 5 pound to the 2 pound, or sorry, 10 to 5.
So
2 to 4 ounce, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I went a little backwards on that. Okay. So a dual regulator is just going from really high pressure, getting it down to your low pressure. Okay. So gas regulator stepping down from 2 pound to 4 ounce. What size supply line do we need from the regulator to the boiler? So I think I gave the charts in the book, right? Going back to this one. Okay. So what city are we in? Salt Lake City. What number are we going to use? 890. How big was our boiler? 500,000. So what are we doing? 500,000 divided by 890. What number does that give you?
Sure.
Guess I better stay on this one.
562.
562. Okay. And how far away from the boiler to the regulators? 40 feet. So you're going to go to your 40 foot, and we need 562
Extension.
inch and a half pipe size. Make sense? It's pretty easy to follow charts, right? Okay. So, what size regulator body can you get away with? Trick question. You should do inch and a half. You could do inch and a quarter if you have to. Okay.
No bushings, bell reduce if you reduce down one pipe size. Bell reduced, no bushings.
Right at the regulator.
Right at the reg.
Don't do some more pipe, then bell. Right, go right on the regulator. Okay. Do we need to vent this regulator outside if we're going to use a Pietro? Do you have to vent it outside?
No.
No, unless regulations require it.
It's few and far between, but there are some cities that will say you need to vent it out. Even though it's certified and it's been through all the testing facilities and through ANSI and CSA testing facilities, they still will say vent it out.
Some cities in Utah or some cities in
It's been,
Yes
I
and
haven't.
no.
Yes and no.
I haven't had it for a long time.
When these first came out, yes, there was that gray area, and they're like, no, we want you to vent it. Now, pretty much all the code officials are saying they're familiar with this. They look up and they go, oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
So they see it's a Pietro and they're pretty happy with it.
Yeah. I just want you to be aware that you may come across something where the guy's like, nope, vent it outside. So, okay, where should the gas shut off? Where should the gas shut off be? This was in your RMGA class. How far away can it be? Yeah. So where should the shut off be? In general, where should we have a gas shut off valve?
there.
Okay, you put it before the reg, but it has to be
6 feet.
within 6 feet, reachable distance, right? Okay. Another house I had,
Behind the boiler, so if it's down, I have to get to it.
right, your beach opening.
Jobs. It's like you're searching for it.
Yeah.
Accessible.
Yeah. So when I'm doing a wall hung boiler, I always put one on the boiler bottom. If I'm piping to the bottom, I just put the shut off right there. And then usually the gas guy, whoever ran the gas, if I didn't run it, usually he's got the one before the reg, right? So there's two of them, but then just that way I've got one at the appliance. Just how I do it. Okay. Now, can you run CSST gas pipe? Everybody know what CSST is? Okay, we all know it's a corrugated stainless steel tubing, flexible stuff. Can we run that gas pipe from our regulator to our boiler? Yep. As long as you size it properly, it doesn't matter. Okay? All right. We're going to skip that one real quick. That was just another example, but I think you guys are getting it. Well, one thing, can we size one regulator and run two boilers off of one regulator?
It's a good question. We didn't touch up on this, but
Okay. Oh, his answer to this one too.
the answer,
So we're saying yes. Some are saying yes. I know.
What your 3/4 is? What will that carry? 650,000 BTUs.
on the regulator, you're at 1.1 million. Yeah, your chart, if you look up the 3/4 inch gas reg under 2 PSI, I think you're at 1.1 million in your chart. This one will,
That's that.
this is going to be your cheat sheet. So 3/4 inch, or actually 900,000, you can go up to 3/4 inch high capacity, which is what we talked about. You're at 2 million.
Okay.
So body size is just a little bit bigger on the high capacity, and we're finding a lot of boiler manufacturers recommend the high capacity, even though the 3/4 inch does a good job if you're within that threshold of the BTU range. But the high capacity has been able to, you're seeing a lot more guys recommend that. It's just going to dump a ton more BTUs down, and it's just going to fluctuate a lot better with the high efficiency equipment. So, and that chart's in there. It gives you the standard and the high capacity regs on that 1 inch to the 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Anything above that's all high capacity at that point. So,
So in this example, Eric, if we have one boiler at 285,000 BTUs and one at 500,000 BTUs, can I use one reg and tee off and split and go to both boilers?
yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. So it's just like your zone. Well, and again, that's an if. That's an if. If your pipe size is correct, because again, if your pipe size isn't correct, you're going to starve that unit. Okay. If both of them are on at the same time.
Right.
We want to get in the weeds on this.
I don't want to go too crazy.
Don't go too crazy.
This was a test question.
Yeah,
and
okay.
It's kind of a trick question.
It is a trick question.
So, yes, you can. Now, the other question is, should we? Or should you reg both boilers?
Yeah.
What was that?
Just because can doesn't mean we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you can size it off of the unit. You size your pipe size accordingly to go to both units. Then you're going to get the body size of the reg that you should be using. Okay. Because that's the other, I feel, trick part with these guys. This is rated at
940,000 BTUs.
okay, but so a lot of guys, because this I see this all the time too, right? You bring your high pressure down, you go into your regs, and then the guys are coming out and they're building their branches, right? So you're going to a fireplace, you're going to your gas stove, you're going to your laundry, range, and then we're going to say a boiler. Can we do that on one reg?
If it's sized correctly.
Okay, we do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Everybody does it. Okay. So, but you need to make sure that this pipe here is sized accordingly to handle all of your branches, just like you would on the boiler water piping, right? And then you need to make sure that this guy is sized correctly as well. Okay?
It's just like zone valves. You got one pump handling each of these zone valves, just trying to paint the picture there. It's the same thing. Size that pump or size that gas reg to handle each one of those zones, if you will, or different gas appliances.
So now my other question, Mr. Gas Reg Guy, if this is well under my capacity for a 3/4, should I just put a 3/4 even though maybe this has got to be the 1.5 or 1.25 pipe size to handle the CFH, right? My BTU load. Can I bell in and out of a 3/4 reg?
If you can meet the BTUs,
And that's okay?
well, you've created a volume, and that's back to what we've discussed over here where you increased it. So,
Okay.
then we also got to deal with turn down, which ours is a 500 to 1 turn down, which would be able to handle and keep up with the low and high fire.
Okay.
So I would say yes.
Okay. I'm just asking questions here. So, okay.
For this to play, right? Anyways, and now it's you.
Oh, for pipe sizes? Yes. Right. Yeah. Who's the farthest one away?
It's built on redundancy.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just, I'm asking questions because I see this setup all the time on houses, right?
Yeah.
Minus, normally they usually put the boiler on its own leg. Okay. But just in this example, I just curious
Commercial, they'll do that.
because I find if I put this on a 500,000 BTU boiler and I put it right next to it, it wigs the hell out of my boiler and it doesn't work right? I get way too much pressure. So that's where we're talking about the gas regulator body and getting that volume, that size of everything. Okay, that's just what I want to point out. So if I was to do this personally, I wouldn't really look at the BTU rating of the gas regulator. I would go more off of my pipe size. And I don't like that reduction and then the increase. It's me personally.
And that's a big increase going from 3/4 to 1.5 inches.
Right. Yeah, because normally this is high pressure, so this would probably be like a 1 inch or something coming in, right? So not a huge increase here, but going from 3/4 back up to 1.5 inches, it's a big bell. But I see it in houses all the time. Stuff seems to work. Okay, fireplace, they don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Your gas water heater doesn't care. 40,000
big draw.
BTUs. Not a whole lot of BTUs. Your 500,000 BTU boiler is probably going to have a hard time playing with that. Okay. So just want to point some stuff out so you guys are thinking as you're out on your job site. Okay. All right. Just wrap things up. Let's get your test and get you guys out of here. A few things you should have on hand. I love this guy, Liberty 331. That's what I use for my purge pump to purge my systems. Thing is awesome. I've had a few systems where they were so large, I doubled it up. Came out of the barrel, went into one, went right into the second one, pushed it into the system. These things create a tremendous, huge head to overcome that load to get it up to the system. Okay, snowmelts, huge systems. Love that guy. Okay, get yourself a combustion analyzer. We brought you in Jared from Intermountain Sales last week. They sell a line. Jason here, he sells a line. eBay sells a line, right? But get familiar with whatever you do end up purchasing, get familiar with it. Watch their YouTube videos. Find out what their warranty is, what their repair process is, because that's a huge thing. You need to fix these guys, send them in for repair at least once a year. Okay, especially if you peg them on the parts per million, your CO. If you peg those guys out, that does a number on these units, and they need to be tested and calibrated from the factory. You can't calibrate, well, most you're not supposed to be calibrating yourself, okay? The other one we talked about, there's a manometer. If you want to go old school, you can still buy these old school ones. They're great. Don't get that oil on you. It does not come off for weeks. Been there, done that one. Okay, had a leak on me. I actually have almost both of those. I got the updated version of that one, but I use the electronic versions. I like them. They're great. You can do a lot of stuff with them. And then get yourself a good voltmeter, okay? So you will need those, especially if you're going to do a lot of service work and you will be calling for technical support, trying to troubleshoot something. I'm going to ask you for numbers, and I want you to tell me some certain things that are going to be in there. Remember, we talked about I'm going to ask you stupid questions because I don't know what you're doing, okay? So don't get too mad at me because I'm trying to help you out and I need to know where you're going, okay? Just, you guys know, get some tools. You got to have equipment on your truck. Right? You just got to have stuff with you. So that was a class. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Okay.